Sex workers of Reddit, have any of you ever have a close friend or anyone you normally interact with daily be a surprise customer? What was the experience like, and how did it affect your interactions with them? When I was a cam girl, I would have many guys message me saying they were my cousin or something. They were not. Just trying to play out a fetish and I wasn't into it. So then one day a guy, in the main chat, said that he knew me and his name was Aj, fake name. I was like, yeah right. I've only ever known one Aj. If it's true, what's my name? And sure enough, he put my real first name right there in the chat. We were in youth group in church together almost a decade before that. He became a regular. That happened with me and my estranged older half brother once when I was camming. I messaged him on Facebook to confirm and we had a good laugh about it. Hahaha. Much smarter to private message than challenge them to put your private info in the main chat. But still, I think if any of my brothers had found me, I'd never be able to look them in the eye again. Glad y'all could laugh about it. Haha. Cousin 1 F is a stripper. Cousin 2 M lives in another state and hasn't seen myself or cousin 1 since we were kids. Cousin 2 comes to visit. Cousin 1 invites cousin 2 to her place of work one night. He knows it's a strip club, but expects cousin 1 to just be bartending or waitressing or something. Anyway, cousin 2 rocks up to the club and cousin 1 has her tits out. Cousin 2 said he turned around and walked right out of there. WTF cousin 1? Why? Guy here. I was close with my cousin. She got blindingly drunk one Christmas party at her house. I was dancing with and about to seal the seal with her best friend. I hear someone yell about someone stripping and turn around to see my cousin fully naked. We locked eyes. She looked like she immediately sobered up and took off stumbling to her room crying. We talked about it later and came to the conclusion some at that party, not me, kept mixing her drinks strong. She would always carry a nice buzz at her parties, but being the hostess, she would keep it level-headed. That night I saw, quite literally, a side of my cousin I never want to see again. I don't think she had ever been that drunk, or has ever since. Seal the seal. So your cousin's friend was kind of a beast? I respect the honesty. She sounds like kind of a loose seal to me. I don't care about Lucille. In a stripper. My friend's dad came in. I hadn't seen him, or my friend since high school. I accidentally asked him for a lap dance before I could tell who it was. He said no, and I realized who it was as I walked away. He came in a few more times and avoided eye contact with me. When I was on stage he would look away. Another story, my first day as a stripper I saw two guys from my high school. We chatted. Then they both paid for lap dances. This exact thing happened at my bachelor party. It was funny. My friend's dad had coached the stripper while on his daughter's soccer team. They had a pleasant chat and she went on to other patrons. It's so good to hear how mature and professional some can be under these circumstances. Yeah, just have to brush/laugh some stuff off. She's got a job to do and has her on leisure time. It doesn't have to clash awkwardly. Hey, well, those sprints and lunges certainly worked out for you. I was a stripper back in the day. Halfway through a stage show realized that my flatmate's brother and his friends were there. That's how I was outed. Lol. Nothing much changed. Suddenly, my flatmate had a lot more visitors. That flat suddenly had more comings and goings. A lot more showers were taken too. Deleted. I was not a sex worker at all, but I was a fine art model for a college for a while. There were so many people that I went to high school with that entered those classes over the 2 years I worked there. Usually they wouldn't say anything, and I wouldn't say anything, and I would just get naked and pose for 3 hours lol. Sometimes we would chat after, but sometimes we would ignore each other and pretend it didn't happen. In college one of my girlfriend's suitemates used to model nude for the art classes. Fast forward about 8 years. I went to a bachelor party for a friend and we all went to a strip club. One stripper came out wearing the naughty schoolgirl outfit and I recognized her as my girlfriend's suitemate. As I was turning to tell my friend, the groom, that I knew her, he turned to me and said he knew her. Turns out that, when he managed a restaurant, she was one of his servers. His brother thought this was hilarious and paid her to do a lap dance for my friend. She had a great figure, but my friend never took his eyes off hers to where she would see him looking at her body, even when she turned her back to him. He looked at the back of her head because he felt so uncomfortable. I had a classmate who was a stripper, and she was very open about loving it when people she knew came to see her at work and let her dance for them. She thought it was intimate in a fun, friendly way. I was talking to a stripper. She said she had grown up in a suburb about an hour away and used to strip there. She said that ultimately there were too many guys from her high school who came in. I thought the point of being a stripper was that nobody came in. Bad word choice on my part. We surprised a friend from university that was working at a strip club to pay for her studies. She just noticed us, winked at us, and did her show as usual. Zero ducks of any kind were given by anyone. I had a friend at uni that was a stripper. I only found out because she got really drunk one night and told me. I always wondered how she managed to never get found out, but apparently it's 'cause students are always broke and can't afford it. If they ever do, it tends to be on a holiday abroad or a stag do, not in their uni town. I was a bouncer at a strip club in the college town I went to school in. I did run into some of my classmates from campus at work. Sometimes they'd come in for amateur night and get offered a job. Other times they worked for an agency and would end up there for a night for whatever reason. It was kind of an unspoken rule to not say anything. If we bumped into each other on campus, I'd say hi to them. I ended up in a group project with one of them. It wasn't weird. It was like working on something in school with a coworker. I would say the only weird thing was ending up at a cake party where one of my coworkers was there, and when the cops came to bust it up, I felt compelled to warn her and get her out of there before anything bad happened. I've never been able to resolve why I felt I needed to have done that. You wanted to protect a coworker from a bad situation. Nothing weird about that. Also, especially since he was the bouncer, so job habit/mentality of protecting the coworkers probably kicked in. Not a worker though. Funny story. One night my best mate was in town, lived in another state, used to live here. We went out clubbing and eventually decided to go to the strippers, pay our money, and as we enter, my friend notices a stripper laying on her back spread eagle for a guy. Highly drunk, he yells out, "Hell yeah, how good is this?" The stripper hears and notices my friend, sits up and yells, "What are you doing in here?" My friend instantly went and sat in the corner, proper embarrassed. Turns out it was his cousin. Family gatherings are gonna be super awkward now. If anything, it'll be more fun with extra entertainment. Not a sex worker, but delivered a pizza to an own sex worker, and at the same moment I was about to knock on the door, a relative opens the door and watches me holding the pizza up to him. I couldn't do anything but laugh. He laughed too, maybe out of embarrassment, and as soon as the sex worker understood what was going on, she also started laughing. Never mentioned this moment to anyone who knows my relative, and he is grateful for that to this day. How grateful? Sounds like about $100 a month grateful. Hey, cuz, want to order another pizza, if you know what I mean. Hey, cuz, does pineapple go on strip pizza? Not exactly someone I knew well, but I went on a Tinder date with a guy. Went to see a movie, nothing exciting. Nice enough guy, but no chemistry, and also didn't stay in contact. Opened my hotel door to my client one night to see him standing there. Didn't react to the fact that I knew him, because there's not a single person who knows what I do. Spent the entire booking telling me how sad he was we never caught up again, and how he knew it was me when he saw my photos. Photos were blurred and face cropped out, but I've got distinguishing hair, and how it must be fate. Played dumb the whole time because this guy knew my actual identity and eventually asked him to leave because of how uncomfortable his behavior was making me. All he had to do was shut his mouth. LMAO. Hey, I remember you from. Yes, there's no mistake. You're a wanted criminal. Pay 30 gold, go to jail, resist arrest. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.